Hello and welcome to the Miss Rolling podcast. As usual, my name is Jacob Staten, and as usual, I'm joined by JJ Armstrong. JJ, how the devil are you?
I'm doing good, thank you, Jacob. I think I've just about settled down from the anger and the venom I felt over the weekend from watching Statement FC get some bad decisions against them. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. As you can see, I'm already Garibaldi in the face
Yes.
at the mention of Shite Sunday rather than Soccer Sunday.
Well, this just in, Jacob. We're going to surprise you from the start of the episode because the VAR audio has just been leaked.
Go on.
First time you've not heard this, so you'll be reacting to this live. So the VAR audio has just been released. Let's watch it. Let's see what they say.
VAR here, yeah, ready to check. Confirm, can you play that back for me? Okay, let's have a look in slow motion. Oh, he's absolutely done him. Oh, that's horrible. He's absolutely white. That's disgusting. Oh my god. He's f***ing killed him. Hang on a second, hang on. Just pause it there for me. Can you just go back a few frames? Yeah, and now zoom in. Yeah, it's a Forest badge. No penalty. Next. Right, let's have a look at this. Good hands. Great catch. Let's just check this. They're saying it was a catch. It's a great catch. Yeah, absolutely. That's hit his hands. I think that's got to be down as a definite penalty. So, yeah, no penalty there. Thank you. No penalty. Can confirm. No penalty. Great catch. Right, let's take a look at the next one. Let's see what he's got to do. Oh, he's killed him. He's absolutely killed him. That's attempted murder. You get bloody time in prison for that. That's absolutely disgusting. He's killed him. Let's have a closer look. Slow motion. Oh, he's not got the ball. And he's wiped him out. I think that's got to be a nailed-on penalty, that one. That is vile. That's attempted murder. What's he saying? What are you saying, Ashley? No? Come on. All right, then. You've convinced me. No penalty.
There you have it. And that's real. That's definitely real as well. Jacob had not seen that before. So, Jacob, live reaction to the definitely real VAR audio.
Aside from being shocked that once again that none of those were given, I feel like that's probably a fairly accurate representation of how they discussed them.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what comes out when they do actually release them, but
I don't think they will.
Really? They've got to. They do that little segment on Sky Sports where they talk about these decisions, and no,
doesn't mean they've got to, does it?
Wow.
Well, I think we're gonna discuss each one on its own merits in a minute, but I'd like to. I think we're both on the same wavelength, as you can tell by that video. That we both are in full belief that all three were stonewall penalties, undeniable, 100%. I don't think any one of them is any less of a penalty than the last one, or it just the mind boggles, JJ.
Yeah, and I think that's the perfect way to summarize it, because it is really difficult to wrap your head around one of them not being given, because you come away from the game with one of them not being given and you think aggrieved, you're annoyed because that's definitely one penalty we should have been given. But when you multiply that by 3 within the same match, and all 3, I think, are crystal clear penalties, how on earth has that happened? How has that been allowed to happen? I think we'll read out the statement shortly, so we'll go in a bit deeper on that whole element of it. Personally, I don't think there is corruption, but I can see why people can head down that path, because it openly looks like it, given the circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk the actual game itself first. Forest made 2 changes to the starting lineup. Moussa Niakate coming in for Andrew Omobamidele. I thought Omobamidele's a bit unlucky, but I understood why Niakate was in. I think we spoke about it on the last podcast. A bit more of an aerial defensive threat, isn't he? Deal with the corners and the Dutch 4-4-2 a bit better. And then the other one was Dominguez for Ryan Yates. Probably just taking Ryan Yates out the far end. Personally, and I know we apparently lost some listeners after I said Ryan Yates wasn't that bad last week. Personally, I don't. If there's ever a game for Ryan Yates to play, it's away at a relegation rival towards the end of the season. This wasn't the game for me. I think the home games would have been a better place to give him some time out of the spotlight. But I also have no problem with Dominguez coming in.
Yeah, I think that the starting 11 for me was spot on. I think I really liked it. The only change I actually would have made was to include Ryan Yates. And I know you said that we lost some subscribers after the last one. We had a few comments where people had mentioned they weren't bothered to listen after we discussed Ryan Yates being effective for us, which, you know what, that's fine. If you want to leave because of that opinion, that's fine. But I'll just give you mine, which is I think he's useful and I would have started him. I think this is a perfect game for him. I can see why people don't like Ryan Yates. I'm certainly willing to listen to your side of it. I won't just ignore any opinion that's different to mine. So shame to see, but there you go. He's a divisive figure. I can see why. I do just think this was a really good game for him to play. And if we continued without any changes for the rest of the season, I think I would have been happy. But largely, I think the start 11 was spot on. I think it was good to see Dominguez back. Niakate, you almost forget about him, really, because Omobamidele and Murillo have been largely really good, bar the odd bit of naivety and slip-up, which is bound to happen in young defenders. But yeah, I had no problems with that starting 11. I thought it was quite a positive one, and I thought if we got at them, this is a team that is capable of taking a team that have just lost 6-0 down. So that's how I felt at the time.
Yep, absolutely. So into the first half, I mean, from everything I was expecting from this game, I was expecting it to be a wildly cagey affair. I wasn't expecting Everton to come out and want to actually play with the ball. Not that I'm not comparing them to Barcelona or anything like that, but they certainly did more on the ball than I think I've seen this Everton team do under Dyche, and certainly in recent years. We have a group chat with a friend of ours who's on holiday at the moment, and he asked how the game was going, and I basically replied back to say, well, if I was to tell you that we can't get the ball back off Everton, does that describe how this first half is going? Which I think is a shining indictment of how the game was going, JJ.
Yeah, well, I don't think I think we flattered them. I don't think they played well at all. I think I messaged you to say that both teams are equally as rubbish. Ball retention was just really poor. There's really poor football on display. But if you had to point to one team that had the upper hand and was doing better, then I'd say largely Everton were that team.
Yeah.
I think we were able to craft a few chances and get ourselves into nearly positions, but the nearly positions are getting too annoying now because there's always that extra touch. And I think Nico in particular is guilty of that. I think he always takes that extra touch rather than getting a ball in early. But he was brilliant. I'm not saying he wasn't. I just think it's getting evident to me that we're just a bit apprehensive at doing anything with the ball in the final third. So, yeah, sloppy football on display from both teams. I don't think anyone's really coming out on top here, but if you had to point to them, you have to say who was the weak team, I think it was us. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. I think Everton did really well to nullify our counter-attack. I mean, I think I'd compare their possession-based game in that first half to like when Forest had Mark Warburton in charge and we passed it around like that Simpsons episode where they're just passing it around the centre circle. But yeah, and then the first penalty incident happens, JJ. A little bit of neat work on the edge of the box. Gio Reyna's in the process of knocking it back towards, I want to say, Danilo. Knocks it back towards him, and then Ashley Young kicks his right foot from underneath him. But I mean, this is the only one of the three where I think the referee should 100% have given it on the pitch. I don't understand what the referee's looking at. I think I believe somebody heard the referee say something like Ashley Young got the ball, which is preposterous. And what VAR need to see to give a penalty, I don't. The way I think what might come out of the tape is they'll say something along the lines of, because the pass that Reyna does to Danilo is off target and Everton pick up the ball, is something like it was the ball had gone away type thing. It was in a almost like a process of the movement. The ball's gone away, ball's not in play. It's nothing. But if you went and kicked someone up on the ankle at any point on the pitch, that would be a foul, right? Irrespective of where the ball is. So
if your back's to goal and you don't have the ball, and someone comes in and spears you, full WWE spear, are you telling me that VAR would look at that and say no penalty? And I know it's not the same. I know that's much more dramatic, but the principle is still there. If it's a foul, it's a foul. The thing that I don't understand is if the referee doesn't see it on the pitch, then you can almost let him off. I think he had a good position of it, should have seen it, didn't, but that's fine. That's its own, the referee's got his own incompetence there. There is now something else in place to look back at it with multiple video angles to showcase that it's a penalty. Now, if you're on the side of the coin of you don't think it's a penalty because there's minimal contact, then that's fine. But then don't give Marcus Rashford a penalty against us at Old Trafford where I think there was no contact. The rules are inconsistent. I guess it's subjective whether it was minimal contact, enough contact, whether the ball was there. To me, as a football fan, I think that's a penalty. And I think a lot of fans have said it's a penalty, not just Forest fans. Yeah. Fair play to Everton, because I think their fans have been really honest in saying Ashley Young's got away with all three there. So fair play to them for saying that, because some fans can just be a bit, stubborn and just never admit anything. But I think it was a penalty, and I don't understand. I can half get it if the referee doesn't see it live. I don't get it when you've got the benefit of replays, multiple angles. I just don't understand. I generally do not understand.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, JJ, about having the fail-safe of VAR, because although I think that this is the one that the referee should 100% have given on the pitch, if the referee doesn't think he sees a foul, then he can't give it. It's the same, when people say, oh, the player should have admitted to it, and go and tell the referee they did something. The referee still can't give it because he hasn't seen it. It could be a lie. But so you're saying that the referee didn't see it. The assistant referee on that side of the pitch didn't see it. The fourth official didn't see it. The assistant referee on the other side of the pitch didn't see it. Pardon me. The 3, 4, 5 plonkers in the porter cabin didn't, who can watch replays and take as long as they want, by the way. They can stop that game for 45 minutes to review footage if they want to. And they're saying that that's still not a penalty. That is completely and utterly mind-bending and unacceptable.
And if the referee had decided on the pitch that that was a penalty, the replays, they wouldn't look back at the replays and go, that's categorically wrong, no penalty, I don't think. I think they'll stick with the on-field decision.
Yep.
So to me, it comes back to this only looks like a system that's in place to protect referees by agreeing with their bad decisions and incompetence by looking up and sticking up for the mates.
Yep.
That's what it feels like to me. And that's where I don't think there is corruption. But you can see why people are led down that path when it keeps happening and it's inconsistent.
I think what you're describing is an trying to think of the word, a subconscious bias. And I'm not saying he might. Is it Stuart Atwell, isn't it? The Luton fan. He might be completely. He might not have had a word on those actual decisions. He might be looking at something else. We haven't seen the footage. We don't know what everyone's role was in the port cabin. But if he has, and it's 50-50, he's a human being. He can't be not biased. It's not physically possible. He shouldn't have been in the port cabin.
Yeah, and this is a person that we've already made a complaint about as well. He was responsible for the previous one I've just mentioned, the Rashford penalty. Yep. I can't remember, but was the Worrell red card a bit contentious as well?
It wasn't a red card, was it? It wasn't last man, so.
Fair. Well, we've had previous. We've literally complained to him. Is there an unconscious bias in that? Is he thinking, well, fuck you, you've complained about me. You've employed Mark Clattenburg to tell people every time I do a bad job, so I don't want to help you. None of these might be true, but some of them might, because that's what your mind leads you to believe when you feel a sense of injustice, this is just the first one, by the way. There's more to come. I You think this one is the most nailed on. I think this is the least nailed on of the three.
No, I think this is the most nailed on. This is a player getting kicked on the ankle in the box. And anywhere else on the pitch, if the referee, air quotes, sees it, that is a foul and possibly a yellow card. Literally anywhere else on the pitch. I don't understand what the referee's playing at. If you kicked somebody on the ankle like that in the street, somebody would be in the a police officer would be in the rights to arrest you, wouldn't they, for assault?
Yes.
Right.
Well, yeah, and we've seen it happen recently. Nico Williams, I think it was against West Ham, kicked to the ankle, went down, Stonewall penalty. VR looked at it, nothing given. So what is and what isn't a penalty now? Because if this isn't a penalty, I've seen multiple things, often on the same day, where a penalty is then given for the same incident. That's where your inconsistency comes from. That's where incompetence comes from. And we can speak about that for the second penalty.
Yes. So after the Reina penalty, Everton, the game kind of resumes back into its kind of lackluster half, and Everton score a goal. Idrissa Gana-Gueye with an outside of the box score ratio, goals to shots ratio of 2%. Actually scores from outside the box. Before that goal, it was 1%. That goal made it 2%. That was his second goal from outside the box in 100 shots in the Premier League. It's one of them ones where, would I like Danilo to have closed him down more? Yeah, 100%. Do I think it would have made a difference? I don't know. That ball seems to curl more and more out every single time I watch it. I don't think Sells could have done anything different. It comes off the post. It's just a good effort, I think, for me.
If us closing down our man doesn't make a difference, then fine. Because at least we can point to the fact that we've tried. But I feel like all too often this season we've watched a goal go in. We've not gone up to a player, we've not pressed them, we've just let them do whatever they want with as much time as they want and conceded a goal. And we've been sort of standing there, passengers, just watching it happen. And if it doesn't make a difference, fine. But I want to see some intent. I want to see some passion from the players. And I think standing off and just letting them do that isn't good enough.
I think sometimes with the low block way that we play, it does this, and we haven't had the ball for very long. I think it can be quite difficult to kind of snap out of letting them do what they want, if that makes sense. We've sat in and let them move the ball around because they're not very good on the ball or whatever, and that's it's not a bad tactic. They're not great on the ball, otherwise they won't be where they are. When that moment comes to then get out and press, you've just spent the last 35 minutes not doing that. And then in that split second, you've got to make the decision to go and do it. It's one of those things you kind of go, do you know what I mean? And I don't even think you could deny it was a good effort. Not the hardest strike or anything like that, but very, very accurate.
Yeah. Can't disagree with that. It just feels avoidable.
Yeah.
Again, that shouldn't be happening. Never mind twice in a game. So.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. We're up to the end of the first half, JJ. Have you got anything to show us and tell us from Heavy Metal Football, mate?
I do. A quick word from our sponsor, which is me. I've released some England shirts today to get yourself ready for Euro 2024, and there are still some Forest shirts online and some Forest prints. So use code MISROLLINGIN for 25% off. It's heavymetalfootball.co.uk. I would very much appreciate it. That's it.
I've just ordered the green Forest and the England one. Can't wait to.
Money. Cash money, innit?
Cash money. Yes, into the second half then. I don't think there are any changes at halftime, JJ. I'm just going to double check. No changes for us at halftime. No changes for them at halftime.
Would you have made any? Because I personally would have brought Elanga.
I think he was a ghost. An absolute ghost. But other than that, I'd have just told them to go out there and try and make something happen.
Yeah, I think I'd have put on Elanga for Gio Reyna. I think if Elanga's fit and is fit enough to be on the bench, I think we have to start him at this point because we need to start whether he can only last 40 minutes. I'd rather him start the first 40 myself to try and get on top of the game. But I think Reina did enough in the last game to warrant retaining his place. I just think Elanga adds an extra element to the game that we don't have with Reina, because he stretches them, and Reina often occupies the same amount of space that Gibbs-white does, because he always is desperate to be centre, I think. So that's the only change I would have made, but I can see why that wasn't feasible.
I think speaking as somebody who used to play right back as well, or who has played right back, like Gio Reyna would drive me absolutely crackers as somebody playing in front of you. He just went missing. The whole time, and made Nicky Williams offensively ineffective because he's got no foil to play the ball off, and 1-2s and intricate bits of play that he's done recently, which he's linked up really well with Elanga, hasn't he? So I was very surprised at that. However, JJ, there is a handball to discuss, isn't there?
There is. Penalty. I can't tell you how it could be anything different, because it literally is if in the exact same day the Wan-Bissaka one's given.
Yes. Yeah.
So it is a penalty categorically, because that one's been given. Now, if one of them isn't and one of them is, then there's incompetence and inconsistency somewhere in the system.
Yeah.
Not good enough. Penalty for me.
Yeah. I'd be very interested to hear if they decided it wasn't handball or if it wasn't a glaring error, if that makes sense. So this one for me is the one that's least a penalty. I still think it's 100% a penalty, but I'd say it's 100% rather than 101%, if that makes sense. I think Callum Hudson-Odoi is fairly close to Ashley Young, but Ashley, not only is Ashley Young's arm in a weird position in that it's behind him, it then comes out and smacks the ball in the face like it's Tyson Fury. I just don't know what they're looking for. I can understand the referee not seeing this one. I'd maybe like the linesman to be able to see it, but he might have his view blocked. But just poor from VAR. As somebody who's watched football intently for 20 years, I don't know what constitutes a handball.
Oh no, that is because there was that season, wasn't there, where any time it hit it was a penalty or something like that.
No, that for me, if it means that there's 7 penalties a game, would probably make everything a little bit clearer. But
I don't really know what constitutes as a handball anymore, because I feel like the rules change all the time, or the interpretation of the rules change all the time, should I say. I think the rules remain constant. It's just the people looking at it that seem to think it's subjective, i.e. one was given the same day as another that wasn't. So again, if the referee hasn't seen it, if the linesman hasn't seen it, I couldn't care a F, because there's something in place where they've got the benefit of replays to watch it back, make the decision. If the referee gave it on the pitch, I don't think VAR ruled it out. I think they still stick with the fact it's a penalty.
Yeah.
Don't understand it. Penalty. Don't get it.
Yeah. Now, JJ, is our third penalty before their second goal?
I don't know the timeline. I don't know if we've not glossed over a Chris Wood effort that Pickford saved.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a good save by Pickford, that was. Point blank.
Brilliant save. I was so annoyed live that I said to Jacob, that isn't a save, it's just hit him. But it's a great save.
Great save.
Credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
I don't know if the second goal...
as well, doesn't he, from the follow-up?
Yeah. I don't know if the second goal was before or after the penalty. Let's talk about the goal, and then we'll go back to penalty, because let's break up a bit, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was before, because I seem to think it would have still made a difference, if that makes. I mean, they all would have made a difference. That's the other issue, isn't it? You can say if the first one's given, if the second one's given, it changes the butterfly effect. It changes, the others don't. The consequently don't happen, but it also makes it 1-0 to Forest. It also makes it 1-1. It also makes it 2-1.
Yeah,
it changes. Each one of them could change the game.
I'll say these two things. One, we might have missed all 3. 2, we were shit.
Yes.
Both those things are true.
Bang out.
But I'd have loved to have seen if it has made a difference, at least given the chance.
Yeah.
It might not have. We might have missed all 3. They might have still won 2-0. You never know. But it does change the narrative of the game. 100%.
Change games.
It gives you a chance. If we miss all 3, Maybe that changed the game as well. Maybe Everton go on to rompers because all our confidence is shot because we've missed 3 penalties. It changes the game one way or another.
100,000%. 100,000%. So yeah, the Callum Hudson-Odoi penalty, he's through on goal and Ashley Young 2-foot tackles him from behind.
Kills him. Absolutely does him. Doesn't get the ball.
Even if he'd got the ball, he's still 2-foot tackled him through the back. It's one of the things I like. You watch it. So I was watching it on when you showed the video earlier. He literally 2-foot tackle from behind. I thought that was meant to be a red card. I'm not saying it should be, by the way, but like he's not tried to get the ball, has he? Do you know what I mean? He's just dropped him. He's denied a clear goal scoring opportunity. It's probably a red card for me. Never mind a penalty.
So this one is the most nailed on penalty of the 3 for me. You said the first one. I think this one. I think this is more of a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah,
I think it's more obvious that he's collapsed through him. I think it's more obvious that he's not got a ball. Now, what I will say for this is, if the referee hasn't seen it on the pitch and hasn't given it, I can almost understand that. If the linesman hasn't seen it and can't give it, I get it. But the people in the VAR with the benefit of replays that can watch it over and over again, this feels familiar, doesn't it? It's the 3rd time. I just can't wrap my head around it. I don't get it. I think if that was against Forest, I would watch that replay and I'd go, that's penalty.
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe it if the other team didn't get a penalty for that. Wouldn't believe it if the other team didn't get a penalty for any of them. You have to accept it with your blinkered glasses, with your bias glasses on or not. A penalty is a penalty, and that is. What did I say?
What did you say?
Did I get a phrase wrong? You said rose tinted. What did I say?
Well, your bias glass. I don't know.
I don't know. Whatever glasses you're wearing.
Spectacles. That's the.
Go to Specsavers. That's what the referee should have done. Penalty. And I tell you now, if the referee had given it on the pitch, VAR wouldn't have overturned it. This is getting boring, isn't it?
VAR would have looked at it and told them to send him off. That's what VAR would have done.
Yeah.
So the reason I said this wasn't the most obvious one is because when I saw it live, I didn't necessarily think it was a penalty. It was only on the replay I thought it was. Whereas the Reina one, I thought all the way was a penalty. That's why.
Interesting. Yeah,
this was a Stone Cold Steve Austin penalty. There's not really much more to say about it, is it? It's
what more could he have done in that situation to make it a penalty? Because it's a foul.
If it had gone studs up,
well, Hudson-Odoi would have been sent off if that happened, probably. I genuinely, and you open the show with saying it's mind-boggling. It genuinely is, because I can't wrap my head around any of it. I generally can't.
What if anyone listening is on YouTube and you'd like to comment? We'd really appreciate that. Can you please let us know what order you'd put them in, the most penalty to the least penalty? I'd be very interested to see what people's opinions are, JJ.
Yeah. And I guess some of these things could be subjective. I'd be interested to see if there's anyone out there that thinks all 3 are not penalties. If you can make a case 1 or 2, I understand that. But we should have been given at least 1 penalty. In my opinion, we should be given 3. And from what I'm looking at online, from other fans, from Everton fans particularly, agreement that Ashley Young has got away 3 times. And it's the same player. Did Ashley Young get booked at any point during the game? Can you tell me that? Not even a booking?
No.
Joke. It's a joke.
I think the first 2 tackles were bookings for me. Kicks a player on the ankle and drops him.
But then it would be a penalty.
Deliberate handball, but moves his hand towards it, doesn't he?
If it's a booking, that
handball's a yellow card.
If it's a booking, it's penalty. I don't get it. I think fair play to the guy for his post-match interview, winding people up, a masterclass in shithousery. Fair play to the guy for his Instagram. Riled me up. Fair play, shithousery. To the max. Fair play to him. He's done it right. It's
exactly what I would have done. So.
Exactly.
It's actually, that was quite refreshing to see that kind of response for once.
Yeah, I just think it annoys you when you see it, but then you also think, fair play. You've played it well.
JJ, was it your response, or no? Actually, it was long-time listener Liam Corn's response to me was, "I hope a bird shits his mouth again."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I've gone Gary Baldy in the face. So yeah, now on to Everton's second goal, which was even better than the first one. It was a lovely strike from Dwight McNeil. Yeah, I don't know what to say, JJ. It was just a good goal, wasn't it?
Just good.
Probably Danilo could have closed him down again, but off the post, Sels can't do anything. It was frustrating. But yeah, I think only those 2 goals going in and off the post would have gone in today.
Fair. It went in. It was a good goal. I think Everton deserved it. I think it's as simple as that. I think we weren't good enough. So
I think there were periods in the second half where I don't want to say we were better or anything, but I think we were applying the pressure. I think the first half was very Everton, the second half was very us. A draw would have been a very fair result.
Yeah. I don't think any team particularly deserved to win.
Yeah, we did not play. We did not play well. I will not say that, but Everton did not play better than us. Is my opinion. That's the
But here we go. This was a good time to play Everton. Struggling Everton that have been hit by another points deduction, that have just been battered 6-0 and haven't won a game in, I don't know, was it 15 or something like that? Whatever the stat is, that might be a lie. Here comes Charity FC. Here's 3 points, lads. Enjoy it. You're probably now safe. How many games are going to pass us by where these good opportunities to play teams just
British
go?
Heart Foundation FC.
Fucking hell. We are Charity FC, I tell you.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
So many games this season, great time to play them. Brighton have got injuries, great time to play them. West Ham have got injuries, great time to play them. Brentford have got injuries, great time to play them. Luton, great time to play them. It's just never ending. Crystal Palace, good time to play them. Never is. It never is.
No. So, JJ, following the final whistle, there was a tweet from the official Nottingham Forest Twitter page, wasn't there?
Yeah. Are you going to? I'll put it on screen. Jacob's going to read it out.
From now.
This is a fake one that Jacob's going to read out. That has done the rounds. I don't know if Jacob's capable of reading it out, but it says, "From now on, it's just being the family, not trusting no one in this life. Don't want to talk about it on here, but watch out because there's plenty of snakes out there. Look after your own, and that's it. Live, laugh, love is all I'm doing from now. Kiss, kiss, kiss."
You live, you love, you laugh, you learn.
That one made me laugh. That was quite funny. But here's the actual statement, which happened directly after the game. So there's been 2 more today. This is the statement that was put up directly after the game.
Yeah. 3 extremely poor decisions, 3 penalties not given, which we simply cannot accept. We warned the PGMOL that the VAR is a Luton fan before the game, but they didn't change him. Our patience has been tested multiple times. NFFC will now consider its options. So at the time of that screenshot, JJ, at 3:37 in the PM yesterday, that has had 41.3 million views.
Yeah, well, it's probably more now. I'm going to check on my phone whilst you wax lyrical about it, just to see how many it's had.
So immediately after the statement, me and JJ we were on very different sides of the fence. My opinion is that the sentiment is correct. The delivery is poor. I can only possibly imagine that the decision to make that tweet came down from the so far on high at Forest, it came from on top of the Acropolis, shall we say. So I get probably why there's a lot of frustration and anger in the tone. There's no outright accusation, I don't believe. There's not, this BBC have since done a statement or a news article, if you can call it a news article on BBC anymore, to say that Forest didn't ask for Stuart Outwell to be removed. We never said we did. We just said that we told you he was a Luton fan and you chose to do nothing about it. So cheers for that, BBC. Cracking reporting. I mean, I'm very much in favour of it. Again, there are elements to the statement that are a bit childish. But immediately, JJ, you were not on that side of the fence, were you?
No, well, the statement and speaking out is the right thing to do. We feel aggrieved as fans. Other teams should feel aggrieved from decisions that have gone against them. It's not just a Forest situation. This is wider than Forest. Forest are the ones that have spoken out. I think the thing that struck me straight away is that it was a little bit embarrassing, purely because I can't believe an official club account had tweeted that but in the manner of which the words were presented. I think there is a really important message that we need to be delivering here, and it needs to be a considered tactical statement that addresses the issues properly, in the same way that Wolves have done previously this season. I think what this statement does, because of the way I think it was written and the way it comes across, I think can be perceived as a bit of a almost crybaby attitude. I think that in turn makes this more of a circus than it should be. And I think that in turn glosses over the grievances we feel as Forest fans. And I think because of that, it takes the story and the narrative away from the bad decisions and instead paints the narrative as, oh my God, an official club account has tweeted this. I think the statements that subsequently followed today were spot on. I think they're perfect. And I think I woke up this morning and I thought, you know what? Great. It was a good idea to put that tweet up because the things that I've seen from bootlickers like Gary Neville and the likes, I think have made me think, you know what? Good. He's disrupted the media narrative. It's the only way he probably would have cut through because Wolves have made a statement, as I've mentioned, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember it happening. So then maybe that says a lot. Maybe this was the main way to cut through the noise by just being so chaotic. I just worry that it's taken the story away from our actual concern, and I can see why it is looked upon as quite embarrassing for an official club to tweet that. But like I say, I'm with the sentiment 100%. As you said to me, the sentiment is right, the execution was not, and I'm behind that 100%. I think it was the right thing to do, probably not done in the right way. But fair play. If that's what they want to decide to do, fair play.
Yeah. I think crucially for me, with the original statement, and we'll read the new ones, the ones from today in a second, but I think crucially with the older statements, we didn't say anything that was false.
No.
The bit for me that stands out as petulant is the line about we'll consider our options.
Yes, but what options have you got? You've got two options, which is A, cry about it, which is what it looks like we're doing, and B, absolutely F all. Nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah. You'll get fined for saying that. That's your only option. Yeah. Nothing's going to change. The only way something will change is if people like Gary Neville and people like Jamie Carragher came out and explicitly said on air, yes, the system's flawed, the system's broken, this happens too many times to clubs outside the top six, and all the other clubs tweet about it. Like Crystal Palace have done a tweet mocking it, saying they won, they conceded 2 goals, but they'll simply accept that. They're now going to consider enjoying the Sunday or something like that. Crystal Palace should be joining, I think, Forest in saying there's the club, the league operates solely to please the top six. You know, a united force, I think, is stronger than people just mocking us. That's why I think maybe the wording of the statement got away from us a little bit, because what options can we consider? None.
Yeah, because like, you know, to say that there's kind of like it goes to a level of drama, doesn't it? Where you go, you know, we're going to consider our options of what? Go and play in Scotland or apply for the Super League that didn't happen. You know, that's the step, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's that there is no step. You are here and you are here and you will do what you're told.
There's another element to this is if we were simply better and took our chances and played better, we probably wouldn't look back on these decisions as impacting the game. I don't think we would have made that statement. If we'd got our finances in check and hadn't been responsible for a 4-point deduction, we'd probably feel largely safe at the minute. You know, there are other factors to this where it just makes us look like, you know, we're not winning, so therefore we're crying about it. And that's what I think some people can interpret it as.
Yeah. I mean, I think as well, I think there's a worthwhile point to say that I think both refereeing and VAR has been, you know, on average, atrocious this season.
Yeah.
I think it's been way worse than it ever has been before. I think it doesn't help when you've got people like Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher coming out and Alan Shearer, Mickey Richards, Gary Lineker, Danny Murphy,
Simon Jordan.
Coming out and saying that we're wrong and that we should have done this and there's other ways of doing this. We've tried the other ways. It's actually happened to us that often this season. We've tried the other ways. We've employed the ex-best referee in the country to come and help us understand these decisions. And even he's saying that it's absolute nonsense. So what's the next step? Instead of telling us that we're wrong and that we shouldn't have done this, why don't you try and support us and say, I can understand where they're coming from, but maybe they shouldn't have done that, but maybe they could try this. if anybody listens to the Laughing Football podcast, as I call it, the Gary Lineker, Mika Richards, and Alan Shearer one, when Shearer comes straight out and likes to start getting sweary and ranty about Forest and why we're doing that tweet and blah, blah, blah. All right, Alan, but guess what? We all know you're pals with the referees because you're a big advocate of VAR, because you think it might have got you more penalties to score more goals because that's all you actually ever cared about. We don't care about your opinion because you don't, you're nothing to do with our club. That's the frustrating thing for me, has been the response from, if you look at all the stuff that's gone out, by and large, other football fans have been in favour of it. It's those who are all pals at the top who are not on board with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we subsequently put out a statement today. We put 2 statements out. Second one's very lengthy. So Jacob, good luck. I'll let you rest your voice after this. Very quick to put statements out about not winning points, but nothing in response to the season ticket situation. But hey ho, that's a subject for another day. Anyway, Jacob, this was a statement put up early today.
Nottingham Forest has today submitted a formal request to the PGMOL to release into the public domain the audio recordings between officials during yesterday's match against Everton at Goodison Park. The club has requested this be shared for 3 key match incidents: Ashley Young's challenge on Giovanni Reina in the 24th minute, Ashley Young's handball in the 44th minute, and Ashley Young's challenge on Callum Hudson-Odoi in the 56th minute. So just sidebar, it would have been 1-0 at that point. We firmly advocate for the broader football community and supporters to have access to the audio and transcript for full transparency, ensuring the integrity of our sport is upheld.
Much better. That's it. That's the statement.
Yeah.
That's the statement.
Yeah. But I also understand the context in which the one that came out immediately after. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if all these people who have made these comments wanted to comment, wait for this one. If you still disagree with it after this one, awesome.
Yeah.
Crack on.
How many views did this have at the time? I've cut it out, but basically that statement doesn't get 42 million views. There's not that many eyes on it because people like Gary Neville aren't crying about it. So I think it's a good statement because it's talking about it being wider than Forest, about the integrity of the sport, ensuring that standards are upheld. And I think that's important because at the moment, the standards of refereeing and VAR are on the floor to me because, as we've mentioned, they're incompetent and inconsistent, which are 2 things that I don't think are fair at the minute. Then there was this statement released. Jacob, good luck.
Oh. Following yesterday's match at Everton, NFFC issued a statement highlighting our concern at the perception of the PGMOL appointment of VAR for the game. This was an issue we raised with the PGMOL prior to the fixture because of the fear of the sideshow that would ensue if anything went wrong with officiating in the game. That fear has materialised as the correctness of the three important decisions against the club have now been called into doubt. This is not about individuals, but rather how the integrity of the game is seen. We know match officials do not allow outside factors to influence their decision-making and that all referees are required to declare their allegiances to the PGMOL to avoid any perceived conflict or harm to the game's reputation for integrity. However, it is clear the PGMOL must amend its rule on allegiances to account for contextual rivalries in the league table, not just local rivalries. This is currently not within the criteria, but should be. Mere reliance on match officials to recuse themselves if contextual rivalries exist invites conjecture, as some have recused themselves where others have not. NFFC stands by its request for greater transparency around PGMOL appointments to further project the game's reputation, as intended in PGMOL's existing approach to allegiances. Given the widespread and ongoing concerns, not merely of the fans, players and managers of this club, but of many others and the pundits too, over VAR decisions throughout this season, any move which boosts confidence in the system should be properly considered.
You got through it. And I think, again, that's the statement. It's perfect. Yeah. Because there's, you've probably seen on Twitter, if you are following the situation, that Michael Oliver, a quote from him a few years ago said, he wasn't allowed to referee any Sunderland games, regardless of, or whoever they were around, because he supported Newcastle, or people that would be in direct correlation to their relegation fight at the time. I can't remember who he used as an example.
Aston Villa.
Right. So it makes sense. And as they say, anything which can boost the faith in the system, why would you not want to listen to it? The worst thing that the PGMOL can do is double down here and not admit any flaw in their system, because there's plenty. And this is why I can't really understand people like Neville and Carragher and Shearer. When it happens to a big club, there's uproar. Look at the last time I remember audio of VAR being released or forced to be released was the Liverpool-Tottenham one, where they categorically got it wrong because there was a breakdown in communications. The incentive to do so was to say there needs to be a new system in place that confirms decisions before it goes ahead, because I think, well, I can't remember the specifics of it, and I'm sure it was a Liverpool game, but they said it was offside. The VAR communicated to them that it was offside. The referee on the pitch misinterpreted that situation. Therefore, whatever the decision was wrong. It caused uproar. The audio was forced to be publicly spread for a system to be put in place to confirm decisions in a more effective way and for better communication. Why is this not the same?
Yep, 100%. I personally think that when VAR is checking something, the audio should be playing live.
I agree.
Like they're doing rugby. And guess what? It works because the referee will explain the decision to the players, and you may disagree with that decision. But if something's been explained to you from a perspective of honesty, and you don't talk to the players like they're 4-year-old school children who are picking each other's noses, then it's very hard to fall out or disagree with that decision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you can still disagree with it, and these things will happen.
Disagree, but there's not
understand
falling out, is there?
Yeah, none of this happens because they at least understand why that's happened, or the decision behind the decision. You understand it because it's been explained to you. I agree with the situation, but I don't know.
I think it's worth
just
pointing out. I think it's worth pointing out that these three. I'm trying to think the best word to describe it. These three incidents is that, in my opinion, none of them are controversial in that they are all penalties. There's not a difference of opinion. There's not a this happened, this happened, this happened. He got kicked over. It was handball. He 2-footed tackled him from behind. They're all penalties, which is why I would love to hear the audio as to why they didn't give it. But I get the feeling we won't.
I think we have to at this point. I think it's become such a public fanfare. Maybe the purpose of the original tweet will be responsible for this happening, but to quiet down any rumours of the integrity being brought into question, you have to release this audio. And if they did it for that previous one, I can't remember which game it was. I might be talking complete rubbish, but I do remember listening to an audio where the VAR communicated something to the referee. The referee gave the opposite decision, misinterpreted, bad communication, and the VAR said, well, hang on, that's not what we said. And then they couldn't go back. Can't remember what game it was, Jacob. You might be able to tell me.
Is it not just the Spurs game?
Was it Spurs-Liverpool?
But it's the VAR said to a different VAR. The VAR who was checking the offside said something. The guy that tells the referee the decision misheard it. They played on. And the guy that was checking the VAR was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So
because they weren't using the right, they're using like radio call signals, they're like over and that kind of nonsense. Yeah. Because they're not all sat in a 10x10 port cabin.
Yeah. So that was publicly made available because it was such a howler. I think, given the fact that all three are penalties, I think there was Sky Sports dissected it and they agreed that at least two were. I think it's got to be done. There's 42 million eyes on this. It's been debated, so let's put an end to the debate. Let's hear what you've got to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to say as well, if anybody's listened to Nico Williams's interview after the game, about 2 minutes long, it made me love him even more. He is clear, he's succinct, he's clearly very, very upset, but keeps it together really well. He speaks really well. It's just, it's worth seeking out and listening to because he comes across really, really, really well in that.
And he'll be fined for that.
Probably.
The club are going to be fined for their statement.
Yeah.
Again, that feels unfair.
Yeah.
There's a sense of injustice, and you can't call it out in a public forum. What are we as a country? Yeah. Desperate to be fucking ruled over. I tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's be honest. If we, clubs don't have to be in the Premier League. They can start their own league. Look at the Super League and that kind of thing. So I think I think this whole Premier League, PGMOL, all that kind of thing, ruling with an iron fist needs to stop. They need to start working with the clubs. That's not to bend to their will. They're still in charge, but they need to start coming out and actually being respectful, which is what I don't see them doing with any clubs.
No. It's stubbornness, I think. Reluctance to admit that they're wrong, protecting their friends, and that's might not be the case, but that's where it comes across to football fans, and it is slowly killing the game, killing passion for the game, I think.
Yeah. Have we got any more statements to read out, JJ? Is that all the statements?
No, that's all the statements. There might have been a few since we've been here. Who knows?
Did you see the one from... was it the official Premier League communications one?
I did not.
2 seconds, folks. JJ's going to play some nice music over the top.
What I'm going to do while Jacob's looking at that is we're going to look at the table. So this is how the table looks following that game. So Forest remain on 26 points with minus 18 because Luton got battered again. They're on minus 28, but they're on 25 points. Everton are now on 30 points, so 4 points ahead of us with a better goal difference and a game in hand. And Brentford won, so they're on 35 points. Crystal Palace won, so they're on 36 points. So it's now looking to me that it's basically Forest and Luton. And I said a few weeks ago that essentially I think we'll finish above all of these. I was wrong. Completely wrong. So, yeah, it's between Forest and Luton. Obviously, dependent on points back on appeal. Burnley are creeping up a little bit. They're not too far behind. They're looking like they're hitting form at the right time or have the right games at the right time. So, it's going to be a horrible, horrible run-in, particularly if we keep looking at gift horses and walking away from them. So,
yeah,
not good.
Especially when you consider who we've got to play last game of the season.
Yeah, that's not going to be nice. I want the job done before then, but I don't think it will be, unfortunately.
So the statement, JJ, from the Premier League. The Premier League was extremely disappointed to read the comments made by Nottingham Forest on social media yesterday following its match against Everton. We note the FA has confirmed it will be investigating the club's statement. It is never appropriate to improperly question the integrity of match officials, and the nature of these comments means the Premier League will also be investigating the matter in relation to the league's rules. Okay. All right. What are you looking into? The fact that you made 3 piss poor decisions and ultimately cost us something from the game, maybe?
Why are they not looking into the incompetence and the fact that we're making this statement? I don't...
The top reply, but no mention of investigating the piss poor officiating.
There you go. That, my first instinct, that person's first instinct. Why? Yeah. Why is the first thing to do is, blame the club and say that the club's got it wrong? Why not say, we understand that this situation has happened, we're going to look into it? Because they'll probably quickly, if they look back at it, they'll probably quickly see, hang on, they've got a point. This isn't fit for purpose, but it's run by incompetent, inconsistent idiots. Yeah, don't get it. Again, another thing I just don't understand.
Yeah, and this is so. I want to kind of wrap this up. Well, for me anyway. I don't know if you have anything else to say on it, JJ, but for me, this is another reason why I want VAR in the bin. I want nothing to do with it. It's you look at these 3 decisions and you go to the referee. Okay, so the first one on Gio Reyna in real time could have looked like Ashley Young was kicking the ball away. Actually got the toe to the ball. Can I go to the referee and see it? All right. The handball was a bit close to him. The ref he has his back to the ref. The linesman might have a lot of players in his way, can't see it. Yeah, all right, human error. The third one, if the referee's chasing back and he can't quite see the player cut in front of him, blah blah blah, he doesn't quite see it. Yeah, human error. The fact that you add in the people watching replays of it and they're still getting it wrong, it's just not worthwhile. Imagine how much money they're spending on it.
I think VAR is worth it if implemented correctly, which it is not. And if it is not, then let's not have it.
100%. I think there is a way of implementing. I think we should move to a bit more of like a rugby, cricket, tennis system where it's a bit more of the teams request a challenge. The teams have possible challenges to or ask for something to be looked into the next time the ball goes out of play. I also think that the referee should be asked, similar to rugby, it should be asking or telling VAR what to look at, not just VAR looking at all the different types of random stuff. So like if there's a possibly contentious try in rugby, the referee says, is there a reason I can't give this try? Or, I'm not giving this unless you can see that he wasn't out, or that kind of thing. So there's clear guidance from what the referee wants to say. And it also lets the referee still referee the game.
Yeah, I've seen VAR work in major competitions, European football. It has worked, and it's worked effectively. I just think the way we're doing it at the minute is a bit of a shambles. It's not just a Forest problem; it's a wider problem. The amount of teams that you've seen, you just don't understand it. So it just isn't fit for purpose, like I say. And again, 2 words: inconsistent, incompetent.
Yeah, I mean, I think also maybe a move to a black and white system, so it's either real or it's not. So the ball going out of play, that is, if the ball's come off the defender and gone out, and the referee's given a goal kick, VAR should correct that, because that is a 100% yes or no. If the ball's gone out of play on the touchline and the team get a throw in, but it's the other way around, that's 100% yes or no. It's very quick decisions because they're real, they're 100% true or false. These ones where they're contentious, they're still getting them wrong. They're still causing issues. They're causing even bigger issues for me.
Well, I feel like the referees aren't willing to actually referee because they know that VAR will look back at it, and in many ways, VAR then stitches them up because it makes the original decision look wrong because they've stuck up for that decision. So, anyway, let's draw a line under VAR. It's a waste of time. I hate it.
Next up, though, JJ, is current English, European, and FA Cup champion title holders, Manchester City, in beast mode as well. We are going to the game on Sunday, aren't we, Joshua?
We are going. Yes, first one in a while due to affordability. Yeah. Last game, you keep talking every time I do. Last game I went to was the Spurs game. So the last game I went to was when Steve Cooper was in charge. Because I just simply can't afford it, which is quite a common
in the
debate at the minute. I've not been in quite a while, so I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd like to think that a low-scoring loss as much as a win.
Just don't hammer the goal difference is all that's the only thing I can hope for. If
somebody offered you 1-0 loss,
at
4:30 on Sunday,
I expect a loss regardless. Yes, we can say we got a point last season. I don't think we've got that same spirit in our team to do so. I think the fans were on our side to a ridiculous degree that day because we were fighting for it, and the fans were all united in a community spirit due to the fact that we were in our first year in the Premier League and we had a manager that got the club. Since then, we've got a manager that doesn't get the club and an owner that seems to not get the club or the fans because they're treating them like customers, not supporters. So therefore, I don't think we're going to have that same spirit to help us get over the line for the remaining games. Therefore, we're losing regardless because it is Man City. They're ridiculous. They're a very good team. So if you had told me 1-0, I'll take it because I expect a loss anyway. And you know what? If we get anything better, brilliant. That's only a bonus at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's worthwhile pointing out in that game last year as well, we should have been about 7-0 down before we equalised.
Yeah. They had an off day. And your only hope, I think, of getting something from them is if they have an off day, which you've got to be lucky for them to get. So
yeah, they don't have off days at this time of the season.
No, I mean they lost against Real Madrid and they didn't have an off day then. So yes. So
brilliant. So I'll be joining a Forest podcast on Wednesday to talk about Forest chances, which should be a short.
You'll be joining a City podcast, you mean?
Oh dear, Joshua. Oh dear. Is that everything, JJ?
That's everything.
Do we want to talk season tickets briefly?
Well, we're 59 minutes in, so I think maybe another subject for another day.
Another subject for another day. I think
because no one's still listening
on record and say that we think it's disgusting. The price rises are disgusting. Not very well thought out. I can't believe the discrepancy between. Is it like a £300 discrepancy between where you could sit?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I don't get that.
The thing that upsets me the most is if you're 18 this season, the ticket price is, I think, like 200 quid or something, and they've scrapped it so that next season the same ticket will then cost £850 in some places, which I think is disgusting because these people are the next. I'm only 30, so I'm not too far away from that, but these are the future of our club, so don't price them out. I've had many good memories with parents within that age bracket, and I think it's really important and vital to continue that support and not disillusion them at this point and price them out. So it sucks. And there's other people that the price of a child ticket's gone up as well. They can no longer afford to take their kids. They've got to make that call because they can't afford their own ticket because it's gone up so much, plus the kids. You're disillusioning and you're pricing real fans and the future fans out of everything. We shouldn't price out current fans and people that have shown support during tough times, shown support for multiple years. We shouldn't be doing that, but we definitely shouldn't be doing it for the future of the football club, who will remain there long after these people have pocketed however much money, which is literally nothing to them, and would be debated within a transfer situation within about 5 minutes. So I just think it's really poor from the club, and I think the subsequent communications following it were even worse. So really, really poor and short-sighted from the club.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the shifting in age brackets is one of them things. All right, but I think that anybody currently in them, it should be honoured. Does that make sense? If you're buying a new one, then you accept the new rules. That's how it goes. These things happen. If you're currently have a season ticket, but you were in the old brackets, they should be honoured, in my opinion.
So I don't think that's fair, but that is fairer.
I'm just, we don't live in a socialist utopia, so these things do happen. They do shift and move these things around. Commercial teams will have looked at it. You can't do anything about that. But I just think that if you are, if the old bracket, I think was 18 to 23, wasn't it? Something like that. If you were within that and now you've got to pay an adult price, I think they should honour the old system because that's only fair. But yeah, so if you're listening for the first time, thank you very much for finding and joining us and sticking with us to the end. If you've come back again and 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 again, God knows we love you. Before I say you Reds this week, our ex-co-host Jordan Kimberley got engaged to his wonderful partner this week. So many congratulations. He won't hear this because he doesn't listen to the podcast, and if he does, he certainly won't listen to the end. But we love you, lad. Congratulations. You